Now. Hi, I'm Jack Smith. I'm the curator here at the Morro-based Skateboard Museum in Morro Bay, California. And we're going to tell you a little bit about the history of skateboarding and where it came from. This is a homemade board from the 1950s, maybe early 60s. It's made out of old shoe skates. People would take and cut them in half and attach them either to a piece of plywood or a 2x4 was more common. As you can see, it has steel wheels with no bearings, very rudimentary bearings if any. The disadvantage on steel wheels is that if you hit a crack or anything larger than a grain of sand, the board would stop and you would keep flying and end up on the pavement. So that's really where skateboarding came from. And then a few years later, somebody came up with the idea to take skates or wheels off of indoor rink skates, and these were called clay wheels. They're actually a composite. I think they were called clay because they rode like clay and they crumbled like clay. A little bit more performance than the steel wheels. The steering mechanism, which is called a truck, became a little bit better at this time. Instead of just having one rubber cushion, they would have two, and that was called a double action truck, and it gave you a little bit more control. Once again, if you were to hit a crack or a pebble, the board would stop and you would keep going. Performance on these was a lot better than the steel wheels, but there was a big change coming, but it didn't happen until the early 70s. In fact, skateboarding pretty much died overnight in 1965, mainly because the U.S. Surgeon General put out a report about how dangerous they were.